Hi, all. I hope this works. I don't know. I'm like so. I planning. Obviously, I was not planning to make a live. I even when I read that initially, I was like, oh, I'll just like do a TikTok because it has the closed captioning, the easiest, and I can like overlay things anyway. So I was like, yeah, I'll just do that really fast. Um, but the more I sat on it, the more I wrote to my friend, I have to talk about this. This really, to me, this really was way too far. And I wouldn't, I don't believe it's a gaslighting tactic, but it's apparently another type of tactic or a few other type of tactics that it might be that I didn't know existed and didn't know the words to. But yeah, I'm gonna work through my thoughts. So I'm going to, edit it and repost it and whatever for anyone who wants to watch it on replay. And I'll, you know, be using ums and pauses and things. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'll like really be streamlined with this, but this is too much. So, um, let me get my, hold on. Let me uh, go out of all of this and all right, let me get situated here. This is so crazy. This just blew my mind. Honestly, this just blew my mind. There's a new amicus brief that showed up, and I've not been covering so much because there is so much, and because I felt like a lot of it, and this too. This is just to overwhelm, to be talked about. I think that's a huge, huge um, point of doing these amicus briefs. This is also because she's refusing. Like, this is how wrong I perceive this to be. When you're not willing to put yourself out there, to show your truth, to show your side, to talk about your stuff, but you're going to use his texts and Jen Abel's texts and Melissa Nathan's texts and everyone else's texts and this other producer from Sony, her texts, but you're not sharing your text to her and your emails to her and vice versa. And you're not sharing texts and emails to your friends, but you quote them and include dots, which means like you're leaving things out and you're like doing all of this. And then I remember like my first viral moment was when I was like so fed up and I was like, I don't know if I want to say anything. I don't know if I should say anything. I don't know. But it was one of those moments where no, this is like to that point, that tipping point, that like surface edge point where I have to. There's not even a choice. I have to speak out. That's what that was when she was trying to rope in all the women that have gone through horrendous things and have been victims of a lot of different things. Like, see, like, I am here for you. I'm doing this for you. And you know what it feels like. And she was using their emotions and their trauma and re traumatizing them because she was bringing them back into the trauma. Like, see, recall that. This is what's happening here. Recall that. Recall your trauma so you can be on my side, so you can help me win something that is frivolous. Because none of this is as bad as what those women have faced, what Child USA fights against, what all these other people have like talked about. None of what she experienced that she has stated in this movie. She might have experienced other things in other movies or wherever, but from what she has stated and what she has sued this guy for, she has not even come close to the trauma and the pain that those women, other women have suffered. And also, there's men who are suffering as well. But that's, screw men is like kind of the sentiment on Reddit, right? So, whatever. But I wanted to point that out a little bit too. But that was the moment where I had to speak up. And this is one of those moments too. You're bringing in child stuff. I don't know, YouTube, I'm pretty sure does not want to have these words going in and out of its videos and promote this. So you're promoting malicious things happening to children to this lawsuit that is not even close to, again, the trauma and suffering of women who have been actual victims of actual harassment and assault and like other traumas. And now you're bringing children into this. And I understand, my ex taught me this like notion. I was so naive, that some people will do certain things that they can get away with saying, well, it wasn't me, I didn't say that, that was not my intention. It was like what he taught me with was this moment, this like very innocent compared to this, very innocent, just like a guy wanting to ask me out, but then when if I turn him down, having that freedom to say, oh, that's not what I meant, and then actually making you feel bad for it, which is really twisted. Anyways, and it did happen, like he said, like my ex said. Anyways, but she's doing this like into a so much worse situation, because amicus briefs, amicus curiae, whatever, these are in true, not from her. They're not coming from her, technically. So she can say, well, they just volunteered. They just wanted to talk about this. They just wanted to protect this specific law, which it's not even, it doesn't, anyways, it's all made for perception. It's using sympathy as a strategy, as I put in my thumbnail or title. I don't even know right now because I'm so like, I'm not triggered, I'm moved. I'm not triggered because I don't have personal experience in these situations, but I'm definitely moved. This is like too far. And I'll get to read this, whatever it is, this amicus brief. Sorry, I was like, what am I reading? In a second, but I don't know. I guess I just started talking. I don't know. When I was doing the TikTok or the clip or whatever, yeah, I did it and I was speechless, and because I was baffled. I don't know if there was like cognitive dissonance there. I had to go to ChatGPT. I'm like, help me put my words together. Help me like find the words, because I feel like it's something, but I can't put my word to it because I'm so like just all over the place, and it gave me some interesting terms or whatever: information laundering and association farming. Association farming isn't like a huge boom kind of thing, but it is what she's doing. She's gathering all of these sources that are noble. I mean, an association, a nonprofit that is working to end and prevent malicious things happening to children. That is very noble. And also strategically knowing that no one can speak against that because they look bad. Except no one's going to speak against that. No one's going to speak against Child USA for doing this or whatever. Because them and Elise, whatever her name was, and all these people that are doing these amicus briefs, besides the California one that, that seemed a little shady because Ezra Hudson is on the board and she's also Blaze Lawyers and whatever. But besides like these innocent people in innocent organizations, they're just, I feel, victims. They maybe don't know that much of what's going on, and they're like, oh yeah, we want to protect this law, we want to protect this. The way that information is presented to them, like, hey, can you like speak on our behalf, is almost kind of what's happening, even though, as two lawyers has said, that's not what amicus briefs are for. And yeah, like all of these, like she's trying to associate herself with like noble and credible, or perceived noble and credible. I mean, because individuals we only know so much about, right? But as far as this association, noble and credible organizations and people, causes, etc., to make a point, to gain sympathy, to hit people's emotional centers, to kind of bypass their critical thinking, not to, yeah, I mean, with this one especially, I feel like it definitely probably can hit mothers and women a lot more than just like something random, right? But yeah, and then on top of that, like, this is so despicable because this man has children, young children. Just imagine if someone was dragging your name out there this way and you have children, whether a man or a woman, that you are a man or a woman, or whether they are a man or a woman, but they're dragging you, like associating you, because it's by association. She's making herself by association seem so credible and virtuous. Virtual signaling was the other word, which I didn't know that one. I couldn't think of. She's making herself so virtuous. She's constantly like, look, I'm doing this for women. I'm doing this for women. Now she's going to say what? She's doing this for children too? And I think she kind of did allude to that at one point. And then she's making him, by association, a child. I don't know if I can say this, like YouTube wise, predator. Just like she made him by association, or not association, her team literally said the words, what was it? Sexual predator or assault? No, Ryan was using the predator thing, yeah. And hi Rose Wild, hi. And with him in that one article around the time that video came out, and they're like, no, see, this is exactly what's happening, what we're saying it's happening, that kind of stuff. That was like my viral moment, so to speak. And I felt so strongly, as strongly as I feel about this. So I'm like, I'm on, even though I should be eating lunch. But yeah, so she's associating, like, I am super good, he's super bad. He's evil, I am innocent. What's the other word? Saintly or whatever. So yeah, association farming, what ChatGPT was talking about is associating their position with more respectable, neutral, or emotional causes to gain perceived credibility or moral high ground, even if those issues are unrelated. And that's like the one that stood out to me right now. This amicus thing is what stood out to me, is like, this is so unrelated to even what she's claiming, even if it was SA, whatever happened to her, with her. This is unrelated. And as far as I've heard the lawyers talk about this, what, 47.1, right? And like, my understanding, what they have presented in their legal filing so far, my understanding, again, correct me on anything, come at me in the comments, and I will read it. I will, be inspired to sit and think, or respond. Yeah, sit and think and respond, maybe. But if I'm getting something wrong, but my understanding is that 47.1 doesn't even have anything to do with children. None of this has anything to do with children. So this is absolutely trying to perceive her, for people to perceive, to get in touch, pull at their emotional heartstrings, and get in touch with, getting touch, and getting that perception of her being good, being a victim, that this man is just so awful, and look at what they're doing, and men are so evil, and they're just like, just evil people. That's like the perception she's creating with this. And sorry, I had started saying, yes, amicus briefs are not filed by her team, they're filed by other people, independent people, um, in theory, except for that one California Women's Law Center, whatever. However, it's still, I don't think they have to have approval of it necessarily. I don't know that they have to have approval of it, but you cannot tell me at this point that they're just like, oh, well, that just popped up on the docket. We didn't know about it. Oh, that's nice that they went ahead. Because I don't think Child USA even freaking knew about this case. I don't think they even cared about this case. Just like the body double, I don't think he even cared, or he would have even spoken up. No one is speaking up. No one, everyone is afraid to speak up about this case and about what happened. So that body double did not just speak up because he just was willing to speak up and just, oh, wow, I should say something. I want to say something. I really want to say something. They're not, the Lively team, you cannot convince me that they're innocent, allegedly. In, having a hand in these things happening and coming out. Sorry. So like, halo effect was the other thing, and I'll get to. Sorry, I'll get to. Hi, Angel. I'm really early, and I mean, I wasn't. I'm not usually on Wednesdays anymore because I have class tonight again. But this just like was too much. It went too far, bringing in children and child malicious things happening to children. Because again, I'm trying to, keep it whatever censorship free or whatever on YouTube. But yeah, so halo effect, to make the main position seem more trustworthy, serious, virtuous by drawing emotional or social capital from a noble, unrelated cause. It triggers emotional alignment. If they support this good thing, then they must be on the right side elsewhere too. If they support this good thing, they have to support her. There's other concepts, red herring fallacy, which is really weird. Why bring fish into this? But anyways, diversion tactic, bringing in something emotionally charged but irrelevant to distract or manipulate. It doesn't respond to the actual issue, just tries to pull attention elsewhere. Moral credentialing, that's a new one too. Look how good we are because we're aligned with child protection, so trust us. She's doing this all along. She's been doing all of these all along. And again, like, she's not presenting anything of hers. From the start, she did not present anything of hers. She presented everyone else's dirty laundry, everyone else's clean laundry, and made it dirty. It's kind of like that blue-white dress. Was it blue? Was it white? Also, I felt like it was more purple, but anyways, um, it's kind of like that, or indigo. I thought it was kind of like that. I think it's the kind of like that. It's I just lost my train of thought because I'm like doing too like speeding. Oh shoot, what was I thinking about? Oh yeah, like no, okay, I didn't get it. Like it was something relating to this moral credentialing. Look how good we are, so trust us. Like, um, yeah, whatever. Anyways, it's okay. It gives them a kind of moral license or buffer against scrutiny. I don't know, like, and this will be interesting how people react to this because if people don't start dropping from her side because of this, it means I feel like they don't actually know much and they're not actually digging through any of this, not even like as much as we do here, but even like 10% who actually really know what's going on. And if they do know a little bit, I'm curious if all those people, Ofi Doki and all these people are like, maybe I should like pause for a second. Because again, this has nothing to do with it. They're not going to say it to their audience. I don't think so. I don't think any of those people will like suddenly say, oh, well, maybe this one wasn't that great, you know? But internally, I would be kind of surprised that a lot of them wouldn't just stop and think. Now, will they overlook it? I mean, we have, what's going on with politics and Trump. Like, people overlook that, like, oh, they make excuses all the time, right? So it's that's another story. And then virtue signaling was the last one here, or one of the last ones. They're highlighting association with virtuous causes not to show support, but to subtly manipulate the public narrative. I mean, that this is also just beautifully phrased because she's not supporting women. She's not supporting children. She made that one speech. Maybe the children part she is kind of, I don't know. I haven't really seen them besides like give money, give speeches, whatever. I don't know what they do. But I don't know. I feel, even though I feel like at this point I've gone over to the side of she's a despicable human being, I still am like, okay, maybe that part is still relevant. We don't know. I haven't seen, and I want to believe that at least, when it comes to children, she's not lying. But at this point, who knows? But yeah, she's not doing it to support women, to support any causes, to support African American communities and so forth. They're just donating because they had their wedding on a plantation, and oh yeah, whoops, and she had her little whatever clothing line that was inspired by that time, and all this stuff, and preserves and all these things that were inspired by that time. She's, as far as I've seen too, she doesn't have anyone but white people around her. So there's that too. But we'll donate, and suddenly we're times 100 best people because we donated. Oh, what champions of the, African American causes over here. Yeah. So the association farming, though, I think is like the best one that stands out to me for this, because she's pulling with these amicus things, especially like she's pulling from all these things to get associated with them. That, I mean, to this point, what she was speaking about was somewhat related, except for that speech. Oh, by the way, I was watching Bohemian Diva. She's going live. I mean, she had her first live. If anyone likes her, I've spoken about her a bunch of times, more towards like the early months. And yeah, and maybe we'll do a co-live. I don't know. I was like really inspired to ask her about it, and she said sure, but things fall through, or maybe she changes her mind when she sees this. But she's really cool. I liked her like content. I like her like deep thoughts. So yeah. Anyways, um, forget how that happened. How did that took a turn? I don't know. Let me get into writing or reading this, and then I'll start. Uh, sorry, I'll catch up with the chat. Wait, who's Ryan? Oh yeah, yeah. Sorry. I don't know why I had like a totally different Ryan in my mind. Bad faith, and to just dismiss it and make him pay 3 times damages and everything. Yeah, it has nothing to do with children. They're doing, oh well, abused children are victims, and Blake Lively is a victim. So we are all, yeah, we're on her side, but they are not looking at facts and just assuming she's telling the truth with no evidence, right? Which in the court, that's understandable until you present evidence, you go to trial, discovery, depositions, all those things like our evidence gathering, etc. So cool, but when it comes to this, I don't know, like last time I caught Cornel Kurtz. She's making an amicus brief for Justin, so hers will be on the docket too. She's doing it to try to back up her lies, and she refuses to admit because her popularity will decrease. Yeah, yeah, and this is like what makes it so despicable. And hi P, this is what makes it so despicable to me, is that she's using really good things, really good people, and she's calling on good people, traumatized people, all this stuff. And she's doing it for what I would say are frivolous causes. Because I don't think her popularity, her having her career, are worth stepping on everyone else's trauma and like real life stuff that they may have, had to face life and death moments. Like, just Ah, so oof, gosh. All right, let me share. Well, try to share my screen. Um, okay, let me try to make this bigger. So this is one of the things. Yeah, this is what I started reading, and I have not read it all. So let's see. Maybe I just completely overreacted. Don't think so. Don't think so, because what I feel like I reacted with and towards stands no matter what this says. But we'll see. Let's see. So motion for leave of Child USA to file an amicus brief in support of defendant Blake Lively's motion to dismiss and urging the court to uphold the constitutionality of California Civil Law 47.1. The Ask Two Lawyers I saw, they have a live at 5 p.m. and it was about something else. I don't think that, I would be surprised if they don't cover this, because I feel like this, like I said, I just feel like this is too far. Let me make this like big. Amicus Curiae, Child USA respectfully move to leave to file an amicus curiae brief in the above captioned matter. The proposed amicus brief is attached hereto. Child USA is an interdisciplinary nonprofit think tank dedicated to preventing child abuse and neglect and ensuring access to justice for survivors. Child USA's mission is to employ in-depth legal analysis and cutting-edge social science research to come up with the best policies needed to increase child protection and the common good. Child USA's founder, Professor Marcy A. Hamilton, is a world-renowned constitutional law scholar, First Amendment expert, and professor of practice at the University of Pennsylvania. Can someone look up, not you guys, obviously, but like anyone, and this is a rhetorical question, but can someone look up, who's really good at research, if there's a connection? Why is she being brought into this? But let me know if there's a connection with the lively side, because this is what that screams. This is what this is like kind of making us do, is like, what's fishy about this? Something's fishy about this. She's trying to clog up the docket. Lyman will not allow it, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, he was really very, like I said, he's the parent and these are two children. And I feel like this is the troubled child. This is the like lying child. This is my opinion. And the troublemaker, the one that like just breaks things and blames it on the other, you know, kind of stuff. And yeah, Judge Lyman had a pretty good take on the other one. And this is why I was saying, like, let's pause before the bias accusations of a judge. Anyways, Child USA's founder, blah, 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 blah. Her leadership has positioned Child USA at the forefront of legal scholarship and advocacy on the intersection of survivor rights and constitutional protections. It's also the leading organization to study and track SA statutes of limitations through its Sean P. McIlmail Reform Institute, and has spearheaded the national movement to align SOLs with the well-established signs of delayed disclosure. Is it well-established? I'm sorry. I'm doing too much now. Amicus state that no counsel for any party authored this brief in whole or in part, and no entity or person, aside from amicus curiae, its members, or its counsel, made any monetary contribution intended to fund the preparation or submission of this brief. I don't think they have to. All they have to is like present their case in a way that sounds like it's of interest to these people. That's all they have to. Just contact them and say, hey, you know, they're trying to attack 47.1. They're trying to attack, you know, constitutional rights for people that have been, you know, all these bad things have happened to them. So what do you have to say? Do you have to say something about it? That's all they have to do. And that's what I was saying with, what's his name? Michael Gottlieb. Michael is in the Taylor Swift situation. He didn't have to like say straight out anything. You know, he might have to incriminate himself, but he might have said it in a way where it's like just very clear, but also like, oh, that's not what I meant, kind of thing. There's a connection with the other amicus brief. Her lawyer, Ezra Hudson, was on the board. Yeah, I talked about that. Did I talk about that? I thought I talked about that. Maybe I didn't. Maybe that I meant to talk about that. And probably why she had Blake file the CRD in California. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't put that one. Yeah, because she knew about that new law. Yeah. Yeah, that's what that person, I did talk about that because I had that one person from the other chat say something like, Ezra, at least I knew about that because she was part of this California women's legal, whatever it is, and that at least knew or had to support that law into passing. Okay, so the organization has advised Congress, state legislatures, governors, and courts on the constitutionality of revival window legislation, anti-SLAPP protections, and other laws aimed at increasing survivors' opportunities to access justice. Child USA has filed amicus curiae briefs in state and federal courts across the country defending the constitutionality of such laws against Fifth Amendment due process, and equal protection challenges, including in cases involving retaliatory defamation claims. I mean, I'm sorry, but like if anyone's being maybe not retaliated, because I mean he gave her everything, so it's not even retaliation. Like she wanted more. But if anyone's having a defamation claim, it has to be Justin, which they're trying to say, well, he can't because, I'm invoking this 47.1. See, I'm a woman and I'm claiming SA. No, not SA, SH. And so like he can't use defamation. Child USA has a strong interest in the outcome of this case, which will shape the legal landscape for survivors in California and beyond. It offers, I can't say that, like names when they're like repeated just sound too weird spoken. It offers this brief to demonstrate that California Civil Code 47.1 is both constitutionally sound and essential to protect the rights of survivors of SV. That's new. Safeguard the integrity of public discourse, and ensure equitable access to justice. I am sorry, but I do not believe, just like I'm not for capital punishment, that anything that's in the extreme that has just such an extreme take on something, I do not believe that's the right thing for society. I think, unfortunately or fortunately or whatever, or just neutrally, things have gray areas. And to have a law that states just a blanket statement that anyone can claim that they have been survivors or been victims of any SHSA type stuff, and they just claim that and they are immune to having people defend themselves. And I know the Ask Two lawyer said, well, he could defend himself. He just can't sue her for defamation as a result. But I'm sorry, and especially when it comes to the public media, people in the public realm, celebrities in whatever way they are, I am so sorry, but like that, it does need to be taken into consideration. That should be a clause in there. And people will, whether there is or isn't, innocent people will suffer. If this law doesn't account for people lying about having SH done to them, then innocent people will suffer. Just like if it wasn't in existence to begin with, innocent people would suffer. So I don't think that it is, from again, my understanding of it, I don't think, I'm gonna have to go and read this law now and have ChatGPT help me through it. I don't know that I will understand any of it. Learn a new language, the law. But I don't think, from what we've heard, what we've learned from lawyers that have been like, oh yeah, like she has a good point or whatever. I don't think that it is constitutionally sound. If you think about the people that will be falsely accused, those two don't go together. Like, imagine if things were flipped, which they have been, and this is why this law has happened, right? But imagine, and then you're trying to do the same. Anyways, sorry. Argument. There is no applicable rule of civil procedure governing amicus curiae briefs. So, didn't Ask Two lawyers said that there are rules? So district courts have broad discretion to permit or deny an appearance as amicus curiae in a case. Okay, this is bothering me, sorry. This is an ADHD side note, I don't know. But I'm what a friend of the court. So curiae is court. I mean, I know amicus or amicus or whatever it is. Okay. I don't know why it's bothering me. Anyways, okay. This is stuff. Courts have accepted amicus briefs where helpful to ensure that the court receives a complete and plenary presentation of difficult issues so that the court may reach a proper decision. The filing of an amicus brief should be permitted if it will assist the judge by presenting ideas, arguments, theories, insights, facts, or data that are not to be found in the parties' briefs. All right. Courts will generally err on the side of granting leave. Oh, my English is happening. To file proposed amicus briefs because if the court finds the brief unhelpful in its evaluation of the underlying motion, the court can simply disregard the amicus brief. But also, tell me this is not a publicity stunt, because they're screaming publicity stunt left and right for things that are not even that. Tell me that this isn't. Yeah, the court will disregard it eventually, but the public is just full on part of this. I am curious if the judge will move up the court date. I just feel like it's so impossible because there's so much that they need to gather on both sides. I mean, I don't think her side has much, but courts will generally are on the side of granting leave, blah, blah, blah. On the other hand, if a good brief is rejected, the court will be deprived of a resource that might have been of assistance. Indeed, federal district courts frequently welcome amicus briefs from non-parties concerning legal issues that have potential ramifications beyond the parties directly involved. I don't think that Brian Friedman was asking for this law to just be stopped. I think he was asking to be reviewed, that there are cases that maybe they didn't take account for when they first brought it up. I think that's what, all right, maybe, I don't know. Amicus Curiae Child USA respectfully submits, because it's, otherwise it would be amici, whatever. That leave to file is proper in this case. Child USA's mission is to prevent child SA and advance access to justice for survivors, gives them an interest in ensuring that public discourse on SH and assault remains robust and unrestrained, so that society can confront, expose, and ultimately dismantle gender-based violence. Sorry. People who know me know how the gender stuff gets to me. I'm like, oh, it's a clown show. I keep thinking he will move it up also. Yeah. Yeah. That's what he said, but we'll see. I mean, at this point, I don't know that this is strong enough to the public. I feel this is huge, kind of a blow, whichever side you're on. But because the other side, the Blake side, will be like, oh, they'll just put us down for not feeling like this is right to do. Child USA's proposed brief offers a distinct and valuable perspective beyond that of the parties, highlighting the broader implications this case holds for shaping the legal landscape for survivors nationwide. It also addresses how the outcome may advance or undermine compelling state interests in deterring abuse, preventing future harm, and protecting public safety. Let's read this. Let's read this. Come on, Apple. Let's read this because change my mind that this is at all related. Change my mind, Child USA. Bunch of stuff. It's interesting how they give the citations basically or whatever at the beginning. Oh my gosh. Okay. So this is the same thing. I think this is where it starts being different. Yeah, okay. Summary of argument. SV remains a pervasive and chronically underreported crime, particularly in cases involving children. Among the most formidable barriers to disclosure is survivors' fears of retaliation, which increasingly takes the form of meritless defamation lawsuits designed to intimidate, silence, and punish those who speak out. These lawsuits drain victims' financial resources and causes, this is not new though, we know this, and cause them extensive emotional, psychological, and reputational harm. Worse still, they chill constitutionally protected speech, deterring survivors from coming forward and obstructing efforts to expose abuse, prevent future harm, and hold perpetrators and institutions accountable. Someone should tell them about what's happening in politics. In direct response to this urgent threat, the California legislature enacted Assembly Bill 933, amending Civil Code 47 to provide absolute privilege for good faith. Sorry, this is really annoying. Good faith disclosures of SH or discrimination, and meaningful remedies to survivors who are forced to defend against retaliatory defamation lawsuits. Critically, it targets only baseless claims, those that fall squarely within the sham litigation exception to Nowhere Pennington immunity, and imposes no liability on legitimate petitioning activity. It simply removes legal recourse for those who abuse the judicial process to suppress survivor speech that rests at the heart of First Amendment protection. But like, I want to know how this applies to this case. And excuse me, but like, she didn't bring this in good faith from all that we saw. So why is this relevant? Because it first has to be shown that she's bringing something in good faith. And I remember something like, oh, it's like automatically good faith because she stated it or whatever. No, like, I just feel like this is, like, we're watching someone abuse the system right now, and it's a female, and in my opinion, allegedly. And the whole conversation is about, sorry, I start saying things and I get overwhelmed and then I stop saying things. Yeah, there's a lot of people like you, Angel. I was actually saying that was like a big comment that I had to my friend, is that she's fighting against women as far as like social perception and, you know, the other side outside of the court. Her legal fight is with, well, 2 men and 2 women, kind of, and an entity. But her social fight, her public fight or whatever, is with women, because many women, many supporters of Justin, most supporters of Justin, I've not really heard men supporting Justin, because I believe that men don't really care about this. They don't, I mean, they would care if they know, but they are also not the type to get on celebrity gossip sites or like watch celebrity gossip. I don't know. Some men, many men, they won't admit it, at least. And they'll just kind of say, oh, let them work it out, kind of. That's like, you know, talk about gender. I know I hate genderizing people, but that's like my genderization. So most people that have spoken up on social media, that are in the comments, that are in our chats, that I know there's like a couple of men here, but that are in our chats, that are part of this, that are investigating, that are, you know, showing things about her past and all these things, are women. And a lot of them, as Lauren kind of, you know, put out those videos, Court of Random Opinion, Lauren put out those videos of people in support of Justin, and many women are survivors of some sort of SH, and they're not believing her. They're not, or it's not really about believing, again, because I think like just her claims are not even that. I guess like maybe on the technicality of it, maybe, but you know, it's not. And a lot of people like you find it so offensive. This they find offensive. Sorry, I keep wanting to like drink. I have I have oatmeal with yogurt and water because I don't know. I like it. Try it. It's really refreshing. Um, I keep wanting to drink it because I will try to keep this like brief kind of because lunch. But yeah, many people are finding it so offensive what she's doing to begin with. All her arguments, her trying to associate with them, with their trauma, with their um, past experiences, with real issues, and things like this that appear on her brief, on her on the docket from her side, whatever. Yeah, it's and like I feel for you because I also empathetically imagine because I feel like I can relate in some way from other instances to how crazy making this can make you feel if you're a survivor of something like this, um, and this person is doing this and you again find yourself voiceless, ironically to this law, to this civil code, sorry, ironically to this, ironically to what she said on Seth Meyers, that she's the voice for women who cannot speak up. Well, they can speak up because A, like you're talking over them. B, um, well, yeah, I mean, you know, there's legit reasons why they can't speak up, but you're not helping and you're making that worse. I feel for everyone who is re-traumatized or on the danger of re-traumatization because especially because of that like part of that voicelessness, that helplessness, that, you know, you're you're screaming like this is offensive, this is bad, this doesn't speak for me, and like she consistently like just ambushes and like plasters things like you don't matter, you don't matter, you don't matter, you know. So she like just the evilness, I don't believe in evil technically, but like the evilness, the like just the bad of what she's doing is ironic to what she keeps telling the public through all of these things. And again, yeah, this is independent, blah, 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 blah. I think Blake and Ryan will get divorced shortly after this, and the drama will outclown that this drama. But they should get divorced because it'll overshadow this. Well, I don't know now, but eventually, yeah. Yeah, if they really want the publicity, if they really want people, and you know, she can like have her little marketing and PR team spin it so she's like so innocent and so nice, and poor her, she was the victim of this man. They should. I mean, that's horrible for their children, though. I mean, well, I mean, at this point, after that whole Ines situation on Deadpool, like, I think their children will be better off. I feel like, and this is a very low comment that I'm about to make, but I really feel this is so bad of me saying this, but I really feel like their children deserve better than them as parents. This is just awful what they're doing and what she's doing and she's allowing. Is even if she's not masterminding this, maybe she is, but even if she isn't, she's allowing it. Just like if she wasn't involved in what Ryan made their child, their what 12-year-old daughter say, just disgusting sexual stuff. If she didn't participate in that and think, oh, that's so funny, that's so clever, and I love him even more for it, like she said that she does when he talks about when he lies about their children, when he makes up lies in the media about their children, you know, and she's like, I love him even more, especially when he does that. If she wasn't involved, she was at least allowing it. And, you know, I understand the dynamics of relationships. Sometimes you can't speak up. You want to, you know, save your marriage or save the peace or whatever. I don't know if that's the case with them. But yeah. Wait, is it too cold or too hot? Oh, too hot for my parakeet. Sorry. I have a third parakeet, but I'm only housing it. That was crazy. 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 Talk about pulling at my heartstrings. I walked by. There was this lonely parakeet in Petco, and they had just sold everyone else, and Friday was the day that they were going to get more parakeets, and I felt so bad. He was so scared, and he was by himself, and to a parakeet, that's probably the worst thing. Not that he's like with other parakeets now, because he's separate, for to not contaminate. But yeah, I don't know. I could not. My heart was breaking not getting him, and it was a stupid decision. Such a stupid decision, because they were like taking good care of him. I don't know, whatever. I regret it. Can't take him back though, so I'm just passing him forward to someone else who kind of needed another one. Okay. Anyways, back to this. Sorry, a moment of levity in this like crazy making thing. But yes, like to what you were saying, and to other victims of past trauma in general, I think one of the biggest parts of trauma is not having a voice, and she is making that happen to people again, because they're like, hey, you don't speak for me. Hey, I don't condone this. This is not the same thing. Listen, blah, blah. And she's like, I don't want to hear you. I don't want to hear you. No one wants to hear. I'll speak for you. I'll speak for you. I mean, that is the abuse a lot of the times. Ah. And this I think is also part of why I wanted to introduce more and more videos of Justin and Emily, especially. Not only because of this lawsuit and like, oh, see, he's great, um, but because those are great moments, and it's important to bring ourselves down from triggering and from trauma and from all those things where we feel so helpless, where we feel so alone, where we feel so disillusioned with others, with people, and we think everyone's bad. Because I mean, if you read this and if you're like really digging into it, and if you're really listening to all of it, like no matter on what side, you start feeling like the other person, the other side, the other gender, or the same gender, or people in general. At one point, you're probably like, I just give up. They're all bad. Um, and so it makes you isolate yourself, and that makes it worse. So, yeah. On the other side, the one thing that I also thought of the more I sat with this before coming on is that at the same time, I feel like this is mending that bridge that was somewhat damaged from the Me Too movement, because the Me Too movement kind of swung a bit too far in a way, and not very briefly. But yeah, and so more than the Amber Heard one, because that was such a personal situation between these two people in a relationship, and that gets murky. This people can be a little bit more objective with, and like a little, further back. Although, again, I was on Bohemian Divas live last night, and I was saying to her, I remember like her "He's Not Your Ex" video was like just awesome to me, because it explained in one simple phrase what most people use as understanding this. It's like, oh, he's like my ex. He's, addicted to corn. I said corn, YouTube. Just like my ex, and he's like shoving that down my throat like my ex, or he's shoving down her throat. Wow, that can be a really bad pun. That was not intended. It was not intended. My mind did not go in the gutter before I uttered those words. So I did not and like think that through. But yeah, and yeah, I just lost my train of thought with that. But anyways, moving on back to this. Um, this looks like a long one. I'm gonna skim some of it if it's that long. Striking down, did I read that up? It simply removes legal recourse for those. Okay. Striking down 47.1 would force survivors into the untenable position of having to choose between remaining silent or facing emotional, reputational, and financial devastation through protracted abusive litigation. I will say that as far as reputational and emotional, I would say that, I mean, yeah, okay, it could be, but it could also just be, you can't really put a law on that. Like, outside of the court, what people do, you can't prevent that, unfortunately. But as I'm reading this, I'm like, this is what she's doing to Justin. So what are we talking about? But that's our opinion, allegedly, blah, blah, blah. It would also send a dangerous message to other survivors contemplating disclosure that speaking out may carry intolerable risks, and it would embolden perpetrators and complicit institutions that depend on secrecy to perpetuate cycles of abuse. I think that what is going on and her, like I was just talking about, I feel like people will not feel like speaking out because of all of it, really. So I don't know that this helps, but I'm also just very biased right now. I'm reading it from a very biased place and a bit triggered. Um, Such a result would be antithetical to California's longstanding commitment to dismantling barriers to justice for survivors and would frustrate the legislature's efforts to align the law with our modern scientific understanding of trauma. This is such a weird phrase, modern scientific understanding of trauma. Okay. I don't know why this phrase bothers me. It just feels like virtue signaling, or dog whistling, as my ex taught me that term, something along those lines. Like, it's fishy that they're using these specific words. It's not really that modern. I mean, psychology has been around for a while, just many people didn't listen to it. The implications of such a ruling would extend, I mean, not that far, but yeah, anyways. The implications of such a ruling would extend far beyond California. States across the country have looked to 47.1 as a model for safeguarding survivors' speech, and many have adopted or proposed similar laws. These reforms, alongside nationwide efforts to expand SOLs for these bad issues, reflect a growing consensus that survivor expression is essential to public safety and access to justice. Declaring 47.1 unconstitutional. Wow, I need to drink it like water. I need to hydrate. Would not only place California's protections at risk, but it would also threaten to destabilize the broader national movement. As the legislature itself proclaimed, the era of using defamation lawsuits to muzzle survivors must end. Cool. No one's, I don't believe anyone's saying anything against that part. I mean, I feel like if Brian Freeman would have anything to say, or Justin or whoever, would be like, exactly. Exactly. That's what she's doing to us. So, exactly. Um, California Civil Code 47.1 is a necessary and constitutionally sound vehicle to ensure that it does. To further the state's compelling interest in encouraging the reporting of SV and shielding survivors from further harm, amicus respectfully urges this court to uphold the statute in its entirety. Argument: retaliatory defamation lawsuits silence survivors, perpetuate myths about false accusations, and exacerbate the public health emergency of SV. I will read the rest because this will go into, I guess, details of what that summary was. I will go into this on Friday, more in depth on it. Yeah, maybe I'll like read it, highlight it, and go through it that way, so it's like easier also to read on the screen. But we got, I guess, the gist of it. For the reasons set forth above, Amici respectfully urge the court to uphold the constitutionality of California Civil Code 47.1 in its entirety. I will say that I can see how the judge will say, well, this is kind of I'm not really sure what they're asking actually, these amicus briefs. Because are they asking for the law to not be changed or questioned or altered or whatever? Or are they asking this court specifically to use that civil code and tell Justin, yes, you cannot sue for defamation? Because those two are different. And so I can see the judge saying, yeah, of course, sure, like I'm not going to challenge the civil code. That's not part of my even jurisdiction, I think, right? Because it's in California. I would imagine that he would say kind of that same thing. Um, I'm not a lawyer, so this is really just me going with theories. But yeah, I can imagine him saying something like that and not getting into the law itself, the code, the whatever itself, and saying, yeah, sure, like it can stand as is, whatever. Um, but if it's towards whether or not Justin and Wayfair and Jamie and Jen Abel and Melissa Nathan, if it's to use this to ask them or prohibit them from suing Blake for defamation. Isn't that what what's his name, Johnny Depp and Amber Heard? Isn't that like how they went around that? Oh, although it wasn't, this law wasn't back then, but didn't she like sue him and then, well, I think she also sued him for defamation, or did he sue him for defamation? Something like it, right? Something like that. Again, I didn't follow that, but like I slightly remember that the defamation lawsuit came after the like initial lawsuit. So it could be something like that where they're like, okay, we'll take it off, we'll win this case, and then we'll like issue that, you know. Like we'll prove that this case is not in good faith, and then we'll add that, or we'll go down that route. I imagine that can also be something, because it still needs to be proven, in my opinion, as a layman person, it still needs to be proven that her claims were in good faith, and I don't know that that will be able to be proven. They're asking for the law to be used and want Justin's defamation claim dismissed before it goes to trial. Okay, yeah. Yeah, then no. Then I feel like those are like the two different options that I can see happen. You know, the judge saying, okay, like because we don't know that much about this, and we'll start with the assumption that she is presenting these in good faith. Um, then we'll, because like he, right? I feel like it's too early for him to make a decision on whether or not it's in good faith or not. And maybe that's why they're doing this now, because it's too early, and puts the judge also in a position where it's like, if you don't support the 47.1 civil code, then you look bad. Not that the judge probably cares that much, but you'll look bad if you do support it. It's too early, and that kind of makes you look bad for your profession, I would imagine. And the other one, the first one, makes you look bad for the public. So I don't know, but this, I'm just like, is it spitballing or whatever? Just kind of saying what comes to mind as far as educated guesses. But yeah, so I'll read the, maybe on Friday I'll read the like the in-depth arguments one by one, but we got the like general gist. I spoke about the craziness this was, that I feel like needed to have a little bit more context than just a quick video that I did. And it was such a bad video. But yeah, and also talking about how, yeah, this case as a whole is maybe kind of bridging men and women together a bit more, because not every man is bad, unlike Reddit says. Gosh, I can't believe, I mean, I can believe it, but I can't, like, it's just like it gets to me when people are like, well, even if he is right and she's wrong, I still won't support him, because you won't find me support any man, because men are just like inherently terrible. The end. It's like, okay, cool. Do Do you have men in your life? Do you have brothers? Do you have fathers? Do you have husbands, boyfriends, friends? Like, what about those people, you know? Yeah, so, oh, and the other thing that I thought of too, like, I was, I think I spoke about this. I don't know if it was in a vlog or in a live, but I got very protective a few summers ago of my ex on his birthday, against or whatever, from his family, because it was such, I mean, it's so weird to talk about this with this because it has nothing to do with anything like this, but that's what I'm trying to say. Like, that was such a small thing. It was like everyone wanted to go somewhere else for his birthday. And I'm like, no, it's his birthday. I didn't say it out loud because I don't know why. But like, my mind, like, I think I said it to him, like, just do you. Like, you have one day. Like, they need to, like, show up for you, not the other way around, for one day. Because, see, I've seen him show up for them a lot. That was like a huge thing that, sorry, this is like more, I'll spin back into the related lane, but I actually, that was a huge thing that, um, that I noticed, was that he was there for them, and I feel like I kind of theorized that's maybe why he wasn't there for me as much as I was expecting someone in a relationship to be, because he was already there for his family, and then someone needed to be there for him for a change, kind of thing, and I can relate to that. But anyways, like, I was seeing him that way, and anyway, so I got so protective. Like, I felt like viscerally in my whole body that day on his birthday, I felt like just ready to fight. Not really, theoretically, instinctively, because it was in me. It didn't come out, and I wasn't going to come out. I wasn't going to fight his family. That was crazy. But yeah, like, I felt that, and that was over nothing. I imagine Emily's not feeling good about this, especially this bringing in children and child malicious stuff to children. You're, and then associating my husband, the father of my children, that he's a great father for, and he has been like working so hard on himself. He's a great man and he's a great person on this planet. I'm assuming, but I don't know. Maybe she's like, oh yeah, got him right. I doubt it based on what we've seen. Like, I very much doubt it. She vetted that guy well. But yeah, I would be enraged. I also would not, do anything crazy, but I would be enraged to see that gaslighting happening. And I would just, the protective part of me, and what this insinuation, of course, like, yeah, you can say, well, it's just about the civil code, blah blah blah, but again, to the public, the headlines that this will create is not as neutral. And yeah, to have, their father, they're young, but eventually maybe read things like this or be told some things like this, um, and about their dad, like how like messed up it makes them potentially, and how much it screws them over. Like, that is so bad. The initial accusations themselves were bad, and I spoke about that at that time. Like, this man has children, and yes, yes, there are all sorts of people in this world, but no, I've calmed down a lot. So I'm gonna go eat. It's crazy. Today is like so busy. I also forgot about this mixer that I have tonight, that I don't know if I'll make both the class and the mixer. So I'm glad that I put this out there. I feel like I suck at making short videos, especially in the moment. I have so much emotion, but then I can't find my words, and I'm flustered, and I'm all over the place, and yeah. So yeah, but this one was strong. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you. Nice to see you, Rosewild, and everyone, Angel and P, and everyone else who was joining in the bushes, as P calls it. And is that why the bush birds are called bush birds? It's just like dawned on me. I like their show. I like their YouTube. Some like such a simple concept. And also like you don't really have to create content. It's there for you. But it's effective and it's nice and I'm glad that it exists. And yeah, thank you. See you next time, Rosewild. Have a wonderful Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Oh boy.